Do you know what I mean?
What'd you say?
Having a dog is probably a lot of work.
It is.
I don't know. I just wouldn't want to walk it every day. And then
you don't have to walk it every day.
But you'd have to let it out.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
I miss Stella.
Oh, man. That breaks my heart.
I think about that a lot.
I thought you didn't like her.
I loved her. I was just really depressed, and so I didn't spend a lot of time with her at the time. But I was there when she died.
That broke my heart when I found that out. Tragic. This is a very somber tone to what seems to be like it's going to be a good episode.
Who knows? Speaking of the episode, because this is topical, Parker, do you know what my favorite sound in the world is?
What's your favorite sound, Gabe?
Nice and cold.
That's a root beer.
Mm-hmm.
just a root beer.
I bought a 12-pack of Sun Drops recently because I felt that I needed to treat myself. Because you know how I feel about the Sun Drop. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that shit is so good.
I wish they would sponsor us.
God, if Sun Drop, listen to me, Sun Drop. I will drink nothing but Sun Drop for the rest of my life if you sponsor us. Sponsor this podcast, please. I love you so much.
Oh, that's a good... That makes me happy that you treated yourself.
Yeah, it was nice.
I treated myself the other day.
Too?
I bought a Funko Pop clone Commander Cody holding Emperor Palpatine as he was telling him to execute Order 66. Yeah. Saw it at Walgreens. I was like, I have to buy this.
I have a bunch of Funko Pops. We talked about this last week, I believe. So I know that my dad doesn't listen to this podcast because he still hasn't sent me my fucking Funko Pops.
You'll get them soon enough. I
just want my Spider-Gwen.
What about your Scott Pilgrim?
I like that one too, but you know how I feel about Spider-Gwen.
I know. For reference, I bought Gabe Scott Pilgrim, and he mentioned the Spider-Gwen, so it hurt for a second, but I'm fine.
You're too sensitive.
Yeah, it's just been a weird week.
Yeah, it's Monday.
It was a weird weekend. I don't know.
Why?
I knew you were going to ask me, so I was just bracing myself. I tried to talk to a girl.
You did talk to a girl.
I did. And it was good, I guess, but then I was just very panicky afterwards because I don't know. I was talking to someone about it recently. This is the first time that I've had a crush in a very long time.
Parker is crushing hard.
Like, I've liked people. You know, like, oh, I'm interested in them. Sure. And if it doesn't work out, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But with this girl, I am, like, crushing so hard.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
But it's also a little beautiful.
Thanks. But I talked to her, and it was fine. Like, it was just a normal conversation. But then my dumbass, I was just like, we were saying something, and then I was like, and I like your bangs. And I just walked away. And I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. The whole rest of the night, I didn't know what to do because I was just freaking out.
This is like after an hour and a half of me telling him to go talk to her. Mm-hmm. Like, to the point where I was like, all right, fine, Parker, I'm not talking to you again until you talk to her.
Which is a little bit of pressure, but it was, like, needed, I guess. I don't know. It was... she's just so cute.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
I think you guys would work well together. I think you should talk to her again.
I'm going to try. I'm going to ask her out to lunch. I think that people look at lunch, it is very underrated for, like, going out with someone. Not even necessarily a date, but, like, if it goes well, they have the rest of the day to let that marinate in their brain pot.
But also, if it goes poorly, they have...
the rest of the day to recuperate.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Lunch is underrated. Take a guy or a girl out for lunch this week. Try it. Let me know what you think.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. I'm going to try it. Oh, God, I hope so. She's so cute.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Maybe she'll listen to this podcast and see how much you like her. Probably not.
That would be really awesome.
But I'm going to go up to her and I'm going to say, hey, insert your name here. You should listen to the 10th episode of my and Parker's podcast. You kind of are brought up.
I will throw up.
I was say, you're the first thing we talk about.
I will throw up, Gabe. I will be done with this podcast. That would be weird, right? What if she thought it was cool? Oh, man, I remember thinking it. I'm going to be stressed the rest of this time we're recording.
Okay, well, then don't worry about her. Because you know what you need to worry about?
Tell me what I need to worry about.
You need to worry about some motherfucking fan questions.
Let's answer them.
Well, you got to do the intro first.
All right, welcome to the 10th episode of the Sad Bois podcast. Holy crap.
They said we'd never make it.
A lot of people really did say we would
They
not.
said we couldn't do it.
They said we couldn't do it, but you know what? We're here.
We did the damn thing.
We're 10 episodes in.
And we still get people to listen to it.
Yes. Didn't a lot of people listen to the last one?
Yeah.
What was the last one?
No, actually, the most popular one recently was the subpar movie pitches.
Yeah.
Which was my least favorite episode after recording. And apparently everyone loved it.
They thought it was great.
By the way, my stepdad texted me today, and he said, I'm a little behind on my podcast, so I'm just now listening to subpar movie pitches. Tell Parker 12 Years a Rave was hilarious. Everyone has been saying that.
That one was funny. I felt horrible when I said it, but I thought it was so funny.
It was a good one. It was. And the fans liked it.
Yes, that's all that matters to me. But yeah, we're going to answer some fan questions.
Yeah, this episode's going to be a little bit longer because we got a lot more questions than we expected.
Like a lot more questions than we expected.
And we're going to try and answer all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if your question... everyone that asks a question will at least get one of their questions asked.
Yes, they asked... Because we had a lot of people ask more than one question. So, and some of them are serious. Some of them are funny. So it's gonna be like a weirdly toned episode.
Yeah.
Because some are very serious, and you're gonna hear some very serious opinions. Some of them are very funny, and I'm just gonna BS the answer.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun though. So let's hop right in.
Okay.
Should we say their names? I don't.
No.
Right.
But you know who you are.
You know who
if you ask the question, you know who you is.
So we're jumping right in. Hi, boys. Number one question. Both of your all-time favorite movies. It has to be your number one favorite. No ties between 2 or 3 movies. It has to be just one.
Okay.
You go first.
Easily Full Metal Jacket. It's
really
very easily. It's just so good. Kubrick is just a master at what he did. Like, it was just the dichotomy of the human experience that is... I just could talk about it forever. Yeah. That's my favorite. Easily my favorite. I love talking about it. I got a lot of fan theories about it, too. But you've never seen it, so we can't really talk about the fan theories. So
I don't really like war movies.
This one is... I legitimately... This is a character piece. This is why I like this movie.
Like Dunkirk?
I don't want to talk about Dunkirk. You know I didn't like that movie.
I know.
But it was beautiful. Dunkirk was beautiful. Yeah. Anyways, this is more of a character piece in like the sense of like, is it a war movie? Of course, on the surface level. But at when you really pull it back, it's like how it's kind of like The Walking Dead. I know that sounds like the premise of The Walking Dead is how would real life humans adapt into these situations.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. It's like, how do these 18 to 20-year-old men adapt in situations of war that are just very not natural to the human experience?
Maybe I'll watch it sometime.
It's very good. Very good. What's your favorite?
I think I talked about this in a previous episode. My favorite movie is Arrival. Such a good movie. That was I think, no, not the most recent, but one of those movies where like at the end of, like, when the credits were rolling, like, all of my friends were, like, ready to leave the theater, and I just had to sit there and just, like, think about, like, the shit I'd just gone through. Because it's so, like, have you seen it?
No.
It's crazy. Like,
I want to.
Let's watch it sometime.
Okay.
It's one of those movies where, like, by the end, you're like, oh, my God. Like, my mind has just opened up to so many things, and I just don't feel the same. Like, I didn't speak for like 30, 45 minutes afterwards, just because that's all I could think about.
Yeah.
And it's based on a short story, and I immediately read the short story and the screenplay.
That makes me happy.
It's such a good... oh my God!
That was me after Baby Driver.
Yeah, it was me after Baby Driver as well.
I could not speak.
Well, I remember calling you after Baby Driver, and I was just like, fuck.
Yeah. Because I saw it first, right? Yeah. And it was good. That's up there for me now. Yeah. I watched it again recently, and it's not my favorite, but
it's so good.
One
it
of my
very
favorites.
Good, very good.
One of my favorites for sure. Let's see.
Hit that number 2.
Who are your idols in terms of directors, producers, etc. when it comes to film? And who are your idols in terms of podcasters?
This is interesting. I think the first part of the question, very easy for both of us, but you don't really listen to podcasts, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, when we started talking about doing the podcast, I had an idea because there is a couple podcasts that I do very much like.
Yeah.
So I'll answer that podcast part first.
Okay.
Because I've already said my favorite. I mean, my Kubrick is the best.
Yeah.
Producers.
I don't know producers because I don't care about producing. Like I don't enjoy that aspect of filmmaking.
Producers, that kind of is just a harder question to answer because I enjoy that aspect of filmmaking, but every single film, even bad films, producers are putting in so many hours. So honestly, it's kind of hard to narrow down to just one.
And you don't really see the work that producers do.
Yeah.
You just kind of see their name in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, they played an important role in the filmmaking process, but like it's really hard to say like, I like this producer because he or she does this and this so well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very underrated. And without producers, you don't have a good movie.
Absolutely.
But if you were talking vision, a producer is just giving the director their means to get their vision. So it's just one of those questions where it's kind of hard to gauge because it's just like, oh, who's really good at getting money?
Right.
You know, and not that I mean, that skill is fantastic. That's how great movies get made. But if I was to say any producers off the top of my head,
all the producers I know are also like directors. And stuff.
Yeah.
But talk about your favorite podcasters, your favorite podcasts.
I love The Last Podcast on the Left. Have you listened to it?
I've not listened to that. I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I don't.
It's just like a paranormal podcast. They just talk about paranormal stuff, and I love that. And they're just funny. Yeah. And sometimes they read creepypasta. I think that's great.
I do like creepypasta.
So I like Last Podcast on the Left, and I also like The Liturgist.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm saying that wrong.
It's Liturgist.
But that podcast is very theatrical. It's very, very, very heavily edited. Not that they're not actually talking, but it's just like a lot of, I don't know. It's a lot of like editing. Whereas like The Last Podcast on the Left, similar to this podcast, is just a bunch of guys just sitting around talking. Yeah. I like both. But if I was to say who I'm more influenced by, I would say, The Last Podcast on the Left. Because they just sit around and dick around. Yeah. So.
I've got a couple podcasters that I listen to religiously. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to shout them out. Because they helped me form this idea. Mm-hmm. And this is what I listened to whenever I was preparing to podcast.
Listen to... Oh, okay. No. I was like, you listen to our podcast for this?
God, no. So there are 3 big ones that I listen to. It's the She Didn't Text Back podcast. It's William Haynes and Darren Von Gerdner. They were on SourceFed before it like shut down and everything. And they've been doing it for a couple years now. Another one is Views by David Dobrik and Jason Nash.
I like David Dobrik.
Yeah, I discovered David Dobrik over the summer and have just like surrounded myself with everything that he does because he's incredible.
He's a funny man.
Yeah, and he was like, he got rich off of Vine, and then he moved to YouTube after Vine died, and just like it's crazy. Like he's 21 and he has like a multi-million-dollar house, and he's driving a Tesla, and it's crazy. But also the Beautiful Anonymous podcast with Chris Gethard. I love Chris Gethard. He's hilarious.
I've only heard of the one.
Really?
The David Dobrik one, yeah.
That's what I listen to. Mm. I've kind of taken a lot of like bits and pieces of what I like from that and tried to put it into this. So if you go listen to those, you'll probably hear some things that sound similar.
Like what? For instance?
Okay, so like let me think. In the She Didn't Text Back podcast, they're always just, like they're just friends that are goofing around and stuff. They do all the big like bits. That's wwhere I got the like talking shit section from because they would just call friends out and just talk shit about them. It's funny. In terms